Hey guys, we're back. This time we're taking a look at Aliens, the Get Away From Her You Be expansion for the Aliens Another Glorious Day in the Core game. And this one comes with a lot of cool stuff. It's the same size as the original box. And unfortunately there's only a couple playable characters in here. You got Ripley in the Power Mech. You've got Ripley Enraged. And then there's Bishop and Half Bishop. But these can be added to your characters. Then you also have the Queen. The big thing with this is that there's new map tiles which expand the previous missions. There's new versions of them in here which make those missions longer, as well as the option to have somebody play as the aliens. And there's whole mechanics and things for that in here, which are pretty cool. This also expands the campaign by a couple scenarios, so that there's more to do in there too. So anyway, we're going to get right in and take a look. So first thing here we have is a rulebook, and these have been available online for a while, so there's nothing surprising in here. A list of your components. Section on what's new, the new things that they added to this. Rules for the extended campaign, and you can see there's now 5 missions in the campaign instead of 3, and the ones that are there are larger. And then there's rules for a player playing as the Hive. There's a whole section on that. That's a cool mechanic I haven't actually seen in play yet, so I'm curious to see how it works. Things about moving the large models, how the alien queen works. She takes multiple hits to take down. How the power loader works. There's even the APC in here. People have made a cool models for this. I'm going to look into 3D printing one, I think, so I actually have a model for it, and then use this. There's a token with all the slots that are in it. Use that off to the side. And then how to work with the new characters. And here, looks like the first thing we have are our new missions. And you can see there, this is our new mission for Newt. And originally, this was this way. And this part of the map's pretty much unchanged. They moved the location of the blips. They moved the location of the spawn points. So you no longer have that annoying spawn point right here. But they moved the locations of the Newt blips. There's one here, one here, one here, and one here. And originally, yeah, it was this section, this room, and then this room was over here, which you never really went into. You just barred it off. Now they have this whole section here, which there's really no... Oh, that's where the spawn is now. That's what else they moved. You used to spawn here. So you can see where they made it considerably more difficult, because now you have to go all the way through this. Over here, you got the computer terminal up here still that you can use to help find her. But she could be over here, or any of the 3 down here. Much nicer the way that they've adjusted that, I think. I didn't actually go through most of the other missions, but they've changed those up a bit. I think it was this one. They added this extra token off to the side here, which really does nothing. The original thought was that this was supposed to be like an addition to go right into the next scenario, and it got canceled or something at the last minute, and they never did it. So it's been a weird add-on on that mission. And then I couldn't even tell you the changes on the other ones. This is a brand new mission. This is a brand new mission. That's a new one. They had the bug hunt with the queen. I think it was this one. One of these, there's actually a misprint on the board, and they use both sides of the same tile, so you can't physically even make the map. They corrected it in an online errata. There's a barracks bug hunt, separated bug hunt, and evacuation. And then these, of course, all the special rules for them are on the back. These are considerably larger than the ones in the original game too, like half a page larger. We have our instructions, and I gotta say the queen looks like she's going to be interesting to put together. I know some people complained about it. The one thing I did notice is that the way that the bottom half of the head mounts to the top half of the head, it can fit either way. And I've seen on BGG some pictures where people have put this bottom piece on backward so that the neck attaches up here near the crown instead of down by the head. And it's a really stupid thing that all they had to do is make it so this piece could only fit on one way, and it would have corrected that. But that's a bad design right there. But there's what she looks like in all her glory. Single page for her. Then we have our Marines. Pretty self-explanatory. Bishop's one piece. Half of Bishop's is one piece. A little bit here, putting the, I think those are Newt's legs, and then the gun together. The loader looks like the bear to put together in all of this because of the way all these pieces kind of fit together. And I've heard you have to do some fiddling with the arms to get that all to work out, so we'll see how that works out. And we have our token sheets. We've got new motion trackers. And I see another 5 in there. I don't know if you're supposed to use these in addition to the original ones or in place of. I think you're supposed to use them in addition because you have more to choose from in the bigger maps. And we have our Enraged Ripley and Bishop. Got some more computer terminals there. And we have, looks like the airlock door. These are the alien eggs. That's the tracker dial for, or the counter dial for when the alien is being controlled by a player. That's the control thing that goes over your player board for the power loader. There's some wound tokens for the queen, some tunnel tokens, some crates, and all of these crates are off-centered. Maybe they're supposed to be, but it looks weird. And then we have aim dials for the new characters. We have the deck thing to divide up the decks for if you're playing the aliens. These look like holes, maybe hull counters for the APC. And there's your interior of the APC, so you can see the door here. These are all the slot locations. I think there's a turret gunner here, turret gunner in the front. The front turret gunner has this arc up here. The rear turret gunner has a 360 arc because that turret was on the roof. But on the flip side, you can actually see the APC. Then we have our map tiles, which I think should have been included in the base set. But more of the, what do they call that place? I can't remember what they called that place. The terraforming facility. And then the Hadley's Hope on this side. I think this is supposed to be the ship. The landing pad for the ship, maybe? It's a nice big open areas too now, instead of all being tiny little hallways. These will give you places to drive that APC, I think, is the idea for those. Next we have the model sprues. I haven't put these together yet, but I will. And here's that piece I was talking about for the queen, the bottom of her head. This little nub here that attaches onto the neck should be at the bottom of the head, but on the other side here, if you look, It's hard to see because the camera doesn't want to focus on it, but this here can literally be mounted either way. And you want to make sure that that nub on the other side is towards the bottom of the head. So I've seen people have an issue with that, so wanted to point it out, but I will throw some pictures of these assembled when they're done and stick it in here. But there's our marine sprue. Pretty easy. You got Bishop here with his base, and I think there's a little notch on the bottom there, yep, that fits on this little thing here to fit in. There's standing up Bishop. You've got which Ripley here? This is the Ripley that's on her own with that base, and I don't know where her guns are. Mixed in this. I'm trying to find them. Oh, they're down. No, those are, yeah, these are her guns here. I'm not sure where the other piece is. It's mixed in here somewhere. I thought there was a piece with, oh, there's Newt's leg. And then all the rest of this, these look like the feet, maybe part of the leg. Those look like the upper arms. That's part of the cockpit. That's the Ripley that goes in the cockpit. There's the rest of the frame and the roll cage for the cockpit. Then you have the loader arms here. The claw separate on this one, and then a couple other odds and end pieces to put it together. Doesn't look too bad looking at this, but that's coming from someone who's put a lot of models together. So I have heard a lot of people complaining about that. So we're gonna see, and again, I'll post a picture of that when it's done as well. We have some of the little pegs to put together the new dials. There's some new motion tracker cards. There's a thing for willpower actions and the alien phase step. I think this is for when you're controlling the aliens. And then I think some of these are new for the, maybe not. There are ones in here for the Queen. But yeah, a whole bunch of new motion tracker cards to add into your deck because the maps are bigger. There's more motion tracker cards now. And I don't know what any of these do because I just opened the back. That one had a lot of text on it. But yeah, those expand your original motion tracker deck to include the new stuff. Then we have a new endurance deck cards. So that's also going to need to be bigger to deal with the more aliens you're going to be facing. And we got a variety in here. More weapons, grenades. Grenades are good. Combat knives. Looks like all stuff that already exists, just more of it. There's some new ones I haven't seen. Yay, more hazards. Lots more hazards. And there's the acid blood cards that everybody's been complaining were lacking from the game. They do exist. They're just in the expansion. And then we have these, which are the cards for the alien player, and these are sealed. And these are going to be used by the alien player when controlling the swarm. I can say I honestly do not know much about this aspect of the game. I'm not a huge fan of the one versus many type thing, and neither are the people I play with. So we didn't really read into this as much. So I will be honest and upfront and say I honestly don't know that much about it. We'll probably give it a try at one point. But for now, I only know the very basics of what it actually is. I don't even know how to use these or how they work. But I will figure that out. there's a quick look at the finished models. We have Ripley and Newt here, or Enraged Ripley. Just got the two guns duct taped together like they were in the movie. We have Bishop. There's the half of Bishop. We have the loader, and I will say this is probably the most complicated one to put together. And the hardest part of it, honestly, was the hydraulics here in the back, and you can see they're still not perfectly flush. But close enough for me. And I will admit, some of the people who are saying that they're not model makers, this one is definitely a chore to put together. The big thing is to line up the brackets here on the back chassis with the holes in the arms, and then there's this plate here. You have to wedge this thing in between the plate here and then up into these little notches on here. But I made the mistake of letting the arms dry before I put that on. I also mounted the, I think it's a flamethrower, down instead of folded up like they had it. And then finally the Queen, I think she turned out pretty awesome. Probably most impressed out of that model out of all the other ones. Definitely cool. And one last thing I forgot to mention there is the box has the almost, I think it is the identical insert to the original, and it's sturdy plastic. It's nice and thick, so you might be able to customize it, use it or whatever to make an insert for yourself, or a combination, make one box for miniature storage, one box for component storage. I haven't tried cramming everything in yet. I haven't even put the models together yet, so we'll have to see how that works. But for now, I'm storing all my aliens in the card slots in the other, because once you sleeve the cards, they don't fit in there anymore. So looking for something for that, maybe 3D printed if I can find something. But it's a functional insert, especially for this one that only has, what, 4 models. So much easier to deal with than the large amount in the other. But I'm sure you want to combine everything into the core box. Well, that's everything that comes in here. I have to say the boards are nice and thick. Same stuff as in the original game, which is nice. The card stock is okay. It's not super. They're kind of thin. I'm going to sleeve mine just because I'm afraid of wear. But thankfully they look the same color as others. I know with a lot of expansions, matching color on the card backs is a huge issue. These were printed at about the same time, so there's that. The alien deck here is the same size cards as the experience cards from the Ultimate Badass expansion, so if you have that, you'll be able to reuse extra sleeves. Other cards are standard size. Motion tracker cards are the same quality as the original. A little thin. I wish they had been a little bit thicker stuff, but worth it. All of the counters and tokens and things are plenty thick enough. I did have some issue with the boards on the original game warping. It's due to the humidity where I live. All my games do it. And it changes so much that one day you'll put them out and they'll be perfectly fine. And then the next day you go to play and they're warped. They won't even line up with each other. Just a con of living here, unfortunately. It does that with almost every game I own. And usually the thicker the board, unfortunately, the more they're affected. So that's kind of a weird thing, but I prefer the thicker boards because they seem to hold up better. But model quality looks good. As good as the original. Even the little, I don't know if I can get it to focus here, but even the little pawn of Ripley who goes inside the mech is pretty good and detailed. So if you're a painter out there, you're going to be overjoyed with that. And I have no major complaints about this one so far after just the unboxing, but we'll see how it plays. As I said, can't wait to get this to the table. I want to check out the larger campaign, bigger maps, the extra cards. I will say that if you're playing the extended campaign with all the extra missions and the extra cards in the endurance deck and all that, you're probably going to want to play the Ultimate Badasses expansion as well and use the experience cards. That way you're leveling up and gaining new abilities, so when you get to the end you don't get completely overwhelmed. I haven't actually played it yet, so I'm going to assume that's how it's intended. And we're probably going to play with everything anyway, just so I can do my review videos. And yeah, looking forward to playing through this campaign probably in the coming weeks, so stay tuned to the channel for the full reviews of the expansions. And that's going to wrap it up for our look at the Aliens Get Away From Her UB expansion. Everything that came in it. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.